Welcome dear learners. We are going to deal with the topic of relation and constants in detail in order to understand the concept of religion from various perspectives. In this lecture, a general outline for the concept of religion and society, characteristics of religion, culture and religion, religious versus spirituality, religion in context, the purpose of religion, relationship between society and religion are discussed. As objectives of this lecture, learners will enable to understand the concept of religion and society, to demand that learners be aware of the social role of religion, to take an active part in the course for the purpose of deeper understanding relations and constants in sociology in relation to religion. Shall we now go to the topic? Religion today has taken on much more institutionalized form. Its origin has always been debated and discussed by various scholars. In sociological terms, religion is a system of sacred belief and practices both in tangible and intangible form. Religion can serve the dual roles of ideology and institution. However, understanding religion in the broad sense, the important points in society are cultural identity, values and ethics, spiritual connection and the idea of welfare. There are different theories regarding the origin of the concept of religion, but it cannot be certain when and how religious ideas emerged in man. It is also certainly not possible to say what the origin of ideas of religion is. All these are due to the fact that there is no broad consensus amongst the thinkers in this field regarding the origin of religion. But there are people who firmly believe that religious ideas are instinctive in men. No other animal except man bears this instinctive feature. Man can be distinguished from other animals from two angles, reason and religion. Man possesses reason while other animals do not, and that is why men are called rational animals. Similarly, men are religious while other animals are not. Men bear both finite and infinite features. At the very inception of the human race on earth, men were totally ignorant about the different events that occurred in nature around them. But they were curious to know the happenings, and accordingly, they applied their own efforts. They had to face different natural calamities like storms, floods, lightning, dangerous animals, famine, etc. And they were unable to overcome these situations. As a result, they had to imagine an invisible power mightier than themselves upon whom they depended for assistance, strength and relief. Thus, fear and curiosity are the main factors responsible for the emergence of religious tendencies in ancient people. They also believed that this unseen and invisible power would be helpful in their birth, sorrow, old age and finally in obtaining salvation. They sometimes conceived of God as their object of love. There are different forms such as father, friend, lover, beloved and master through which they tried to attain a relation with God. Thus, in order to meet their ignorance and to get strength and courage to face natural calamities, men time and again dependent on an imaginary existence, the result of which is named God in religion. In India, this word religion plays a significant role because India is a diversified country where we respect all religions. India is the only country in the world where different religious people live together. It is a social institution that is linked to cultural. Religion refers to faith, beliefs, worship and spiritual practices. As we know, our Indian society consists of unity and diversity along with different castes, creeds, religions and races. They come from different backgrounds and live together. In our Indian society, there are many religions where people visit and worship God. There is a saying that humanity is the one religion. As per Constitutional Gazette, anyone belonging to any religion could enter any other religious place and he or she should not be discriminated against. The term religion carries a different meaning for different people. The English word religion has a Latin root religare, meaning to bind together. The first being the states of opinion in the representation of the mind. The second being the determined modes of action, which is the practical side of life. Now we will move to the next important, the core idea of religion, freedom of thought, belief and other religion. It puts the protection of rights to thought, belief and religion into action. This could include our right to wear religious clothes, right to talk about our beliefs, or the right to take part in religious place of worship. Public authorities cannot stop people who practice their own religion. Public authorities cannot interfere with people's right to hold or change their beliefs. But there are some situations in which public authorities can interfere with their rights to show their thoughts, beliefs and religion. This is only allowed where the authority can show that its action is lawful and necessary in order to protect the religion. Dear learners, we must know the characteristics of religion. Religion is a group phenomenon. Religion, though it can be an individual affair, is usually a group affair. Individuality in religion can take the form of hermits or monks. Religion is a community phenomenon that involves a whole group of people. Religion at its largest is society. It generally involves a congregation or a ceremonial gathering that involves a large group of people, for example, a church, a temple or a mosque. Religion is concerned with the sacred and supernatural. Almost all religions in the world involve the sacred or supernatural. Buddhism is the only religion that does not involve either one. Every other religion talks about the sacred or supernatural as its key feature. Religion involves a body of practices. Beliefs are derived from experiences in life. A member is told to believe and then commune with God. Thus, it leads to a belief in God. The body of belief has to be experienced in most religions. Religion also involves a body of facts that are found in sacred books like the Bible, Quran, Torah, Gita, etc. These books are a body of facts, the ultimate truth. Religion involves a body of practices. First comes the belief in the existence of a supernatural power, and then in order to reflect this, practices are followed. Religion involves practices of love, peace, charity, etc. But most of all, it involves the practice of rites and rituals. Religion involves a lot of practices which often reflect the beliefs that are being followed. Believing follows practices in any religion. Thus, these are all some of the characteristics of religion which reflect that religion is social and involves a lot of rites and rituals to be followed by the believers of any particular faith. Dear learners, now we will look into the culture and religion part. It is much more concerned with an understanding of culture in terms of socio-cultural systems. Studying religion is an ambiguous task with some uncertainty as to what exactly constitutes religion. There may be uncertainty as to what ought to be studied and how to study it. Mulder indicates that studying religion implies studying religion as an expression of human culture. Religion is thus expressed and clothed in cultural guise. The reciprocal interaction between culture and religion must be recognized. Religion is determined by culture, but religion also influences culture. The opposite relationship between culture and religion is also possible. Religion in opposition to culture, religion as anti-culture. Even when religion is part of culture, it is possible to differentiate religion from the worldview governing a cultural community. There are many elements considered part of religion that are connected to cultural elements, which means politics, science, art and literature. The debate on what constitutes culture is still lively because of the multiplicity of its reference as well as the studied vagueness, the quotes taken from Clifford Geertz. There are, however, not a shortage of definitions as to what constitutes culture. From Max Weber's thereof that humans or animals suspended in webs of significance that they have spun themselves to E.B. Taylor's vague descriptions of culture as the most complex whole. To Lacan's definitions are good enough inclusion of heart and mind as the location of culture. The main elements of what culture is must be understood as the result of a long line of research culminating in a wide variety of perspectives. Clifford Geertz defines culture as follows: culture denotes a historically transmitted pattern of meanings embodied in symbols, a system of inherited conceptions expressed in symbolic forms by means of which men communicate, perpetuate and develop their knowledge about and attitudes towards life. Studying culture, however, does not only intend the description of these verbs, but also much more so a search for meaning. Anthropology, as an attempt at studying culture and religion, even sociology, requires a definition of what constitutes religion. As to Geertz's definition of religion, he says religion is a system of symbols that acts to establish powerful, pervasive and long-lasting moods and motivations in men by formulating conceptions of a general order of existence and clothing the conceptions with such an aura of factuality that the moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. It is important to note that behavior with meaning constitutes culture. Meaning is contextually assigned and therefore similar behavior among different communities only differs in terms of the meaning assigned to such behavior. If culture is perceived as a given, there can be no negotiation as to integration or accommodation. The different stages of cultural development must be taken into account when studying intercultural contact. Now we will move to the next part, religion versus spirituality. Historically, from the perspective of the soul, there have been two foundational roots to discovering these truths, religion and spirituality. Although they have many similarities and there is a relationship between the two, there are differences between religion and spirituality. There are noticeable distinctions between spirituality and religion. However, these comparisons are not meant to be absolutes or an attempt to polarize one against the other. Religious and spiritual beliefs differ in the ways in which they are practiced. However, each practice serves as a vehicle to lead us closer to the truth we seek, which means what we seek. Whichever path or combination of the two we follow is the personal and subjective expressions of our journey of awakening. Now we will look at the idea of religion in context. The study of history has long been connected to the history of religions. For many religions, the very fact of historical study is heretical. For other religions, historical thought is integral to religious practice. We cannot speak about religion without also thinking about its many histories. Religion has been an instrument of liberation and an instrument of coercion. Religious identities have been a matter of choice and a tool of control. Religious institutions ruled by men and more rarely women have developed sometimes in collusion with and sometimes in antagonism to government power. Religions have been a basic factor in human history in all places and times and remain so in our own world at present. They have been some of the most important forces shaping knowledge, the arts and technology. Historians are particularly interested in the context of the context in which religions initially arose and their subsequent development, especially how they changed when they entered as societies. What is the purpose of religion? Religion can serve a wide range of purposes. Religion can be a source of comfort and guidance. It can provide a basis for moral beliefs and behaviors. It can also provide a sense of community and connection to tradition. Some research even suggests that it may affect health. The impact of religion on health and life expectancy has always been a tricky area of the research. It seems means to some that religious people defined here as people who attend religious services regularly seem to be healthier than those who don't attend. This has led to a line of research looking into the impact of religion on health to determine what, if any, positive benefit religion could have on life expectancy. This research is tricky, however, because of several factors that are difficult to control, including people who attend religious services may simply be healthier than those who do not. The benefits may have more to do with social contact than religious itself. Certain religions may encourage healthy behaviors. The relationship between society and religion. This section, particularly this area, briefly sketches the sociological theories that explain the relationship between religion and society. A sociological understanding across theoretical frameworks certainly informs us that religion is a creation of humans. Within classical sociology, religion has been seen as an important theme. Sociological explanations of religion are less concerned with theological issues than the social contextualization of religion. Sociologically, religion is defined as social institution. In sociology, we do not attempt to prove or disprove the existence of God. Rather, we try to understand why people believe in Him. Three stalwarts in classical sociology, Karl Marx, Emil Durkheim, and Max Weber, figure prominently in explaining the relationship between religion and society. Their intellectual engagement with religion and society offers a multifaceted aspects of religion as a social institution. Emil Durkheim, a French sociologist, is regarded as the most prolific author in the field of sociology of religion. His major contribution in this area is that he postulates the idea that religion is socially constructed and not of divine origin. For him, the nature of religion is shaped by the prevailing social conditions. In his book, The Elementary Forms of Religious Life in 1961, Durkheim was concerned with the origins and causes of religion in society. He studied various primitive groups in Australia and North America to study the most rudimentary religious forms. He turned towards the study of elementary forms of religion, in this case totemism. It's very much important, as he wanted to make sense of religion in complex societies through the study of the organization of religion in simple societies. According to him, the most elementary form of religion would be found in those primitive tribal communities that have an elementary social organization. According to Durkheim, there are two basic components of religion: beliefs and rites. He calls beliefs collective representations that are products of the underlying social structures, and rites that pertain to the operative form of or the part of belief system, which means various modes of action produced by beliefs. He reasoned that religion is a group phenomenon because its basic characteristics and unity are given by the group. In this way, he emphasizes the positive function of religion as a force commenting or force cementing society as together. The functional theory of religion as propounded by Durkheim hinders any study of the dysfunctions of religion. This explains for Durkheim the reason for the ambiguity permanence of religion. Religious force is only the sentiment inspired by the group in its members. It is projected and objectified in the outer world and in consciousness. He classifies beliefs into two separate spheres, sacred and profane. He identifies sacred as the most fundamental religious phenomena. Sacred is the part of religion that is set apart, forbidden, and considered holy. Sacred is venerated and placed in a higher position than profane things. Profane stands in opposition to sacred and refers to the mundane aspects of everyday life. Durkheim writes that all the history of human thought, there exist no other examples of two categories of things so profoundly differentiated or radically opposed to one another, which means the sacred and the profane. Another scholar, Max Weber, who from German sociology, he is known as to have developed a theory of religion in which the economic relevance of religion is demonstrated. In his book, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism in 1948, he assessed the contribution of Protestant ethics to the development of the modern economic system of capitalism. For him, Protestant ethics played a decisive role in the development of capitalism in the West, whereas it could not develop in Asian countries such as India. According to Weber, it is considered that the religious ethics of Hinduism with regard to caste hinder the development of capitalism. He considered Hinduism an otherworldly religion, caste imposed structural restraints on economic development. However, later scholars like Milton Singer and Bernard Cohen studied the Madras capitalists who did not subscribe to Weber's ideas on Hinduism. He argues that there is a fundamental difference between Protestants and Catholics in terms of their inclination towards industrial and commercial actions. Protestants could acquire industrial skills and explore modern occupations and avenues for administrative positions, whereas Catholics remained in traditional occupations. According to him, Protestants have methodical and ascetic norms of conduct, which is the essential spirit of capitalism. Now, other scholar, Karl Marx, a German philosopher, has developed a critical theory of religion unlike Durkheim and Weber. Marx was more concerned with how religion generates a false consciousness of the existing social reality, thereby normalizing and justifying the unequal social structure and giving people an illusory happiness. Marx was not only theorizing the relationship between religion and society and how religion affects human behavior, but he was also addressing how to change the unequal structure of society which is discussed in religion. In this way, Marx was primarily dealing with the political aspects of religion rather than its functionality as Durkheim was. In his materialist conception of history, Marx argued that religion is actually a reflection of the material conditions of society. To quote him, "It is not the consciousness of men that determines their existence, but on the contrary, their social existence determines their consciousness." Unquote. This means that ideas at the level of consciousness cannot solely determine the social structure as Weber has propounded. Religious ideas can justify the prevailing socio-economic conditions but cannot produce them alone. Religion cannot exist in isolation from the socio-economic structure. In this way, Marx's thesis on religion is opposed to Weber's understanding. Dear learners, so far we have discussed the topic of relation and constant, in other words, accident and permanent. In this lecture, a general outline for the concept of religion and society, characteristics of religion, culture and religion versus spirituality, religion in context, the purpose of religion and the relationship between society and religion. I hope you have enjoyed this session with much more information on religion in connection with its relationship and constants in society and culture. Thank you. All the best.